Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Something a little bit different today. So a little while back, I asked you guys on the community tab if you could have any designer brand do a new fragrance, what would it be? Which house, which line, what would the name be, what notes? Maybe you want Acqua di Gio for fall and winter with a tobacco and myrrh kind of twist on the original Acqua di Gio DNA. I don't know, whatever you want. And you guys let me know. And in today's video, I'm gonna be your megaphone. I'm gonna be telling the brands what you guys want. So the people have spoken. These are the fragrances we wanna see. Let's check them out. And we're gonna jump just straight into this. First off, Painkiller. That's a good name. Viktor and Rolf Citrus Bomb Extreme. Something for summer with beastly performance. And this was one of the most upvoted comments on the entire post. Viktor and Rolf, this is what we want, this is what we need, Citrus Bomb. I mean, if you think about it, Viktor and Rolf could ramp up like how much they're doing. They don't release stuff anywhere near as much as the other designer houses out there. I get it also, they're not as big as, you know, Armani, Dolce Gabbana, etc. But hey, you know, an extra line there where you tackle the seasons that for the most part you have neglected, I don't think is a bad idea. Because yeah, you had Spice Bomb Eau Fraiche, Spice Bomb Fresh, whatever you want to call it, but that didn't do so hot, ended up getting discontinued. And maybe the better way to go would be to embrace something that is not necessarily a bomb of spice, but is instead citrus or something else. Maybe it doesn't have to be citrus, but something else for spring and summertime. And if you do it well and it has that performance that everybody would expect, hey, maybe it's a home run. So that one I can get behind, I agree with you. Then we got Tony Thompson, 1981. I would love Versace to do an eau de parfum or parfum of Versace Pour Homme. As for notes, I'm not even gonna pretend to know what would go into that. I just know that a richer and stronger version of Versace Pour Homme would be amazing. Once again, I don't think that's a bad idea. Versace, for the most part, seems to just be concentrating, at least as far as men's fragrances goes, on Eros. I mean, that's pretty much it. Which is a bummer, because if you go back and you look at Versace's fragrances from before, they had a lot of different things going on. You had Versace the Dreamer, you had of course Versace L'Homme back in the day, Versace Man Eau Fraiche, and then you had Oud Noir, eventually, you know, the Eros line, Versace Pour Homme, Versace Dylan Blue, etc. But I guess I also forgot Blue Jeans and all the jeans fragrances. But yeah, Versace historically doesn't flesh out their lines like other houses do. So as an example, you had Versace Man that I mentioned, and then Versace Man Eau Fraiche. They discontinued Versace Man, and now you just have Versace Man Eau Fraiche. That's it. As far as the bottle style that Versace Pour Homme is in, you have Oud Noir and you have Dylan Blue, but those three are kind of separate. They're not really all part of the same line. Then you got the Dreamer, which is just on its own. The only one that they really fleshed out is Eros. And so you have the Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, Parfum, and Flame. I do think that Versace Pour Homme is something that they should expand on and build on, because I feel like there's more you could maybe do with that and get away with. With Eros, there's a very set in stone scent profile, if you want to call it that, that people expect. So if you come out with a new Eros and maybe it doesn't smell like that, some people get annoyed. I don't know. It's not really a big deal, frankly, but yeah, Versace Pour Homme, I would be down for that for sure. And you can't say that there's no market for that scent profile, because Missoni Wave came out, which has a bit of a similarity to Versace Pour Homme, and that's done very well. People really enjoying that. And then of course the L'Homme Sport from Chanel still does well, which also smells a bit similar to Versace Pour Homme. Gurjot Singh says, Dolce & Gabbana the one, Elixir. You gotta throw Elixir in there, that's the new thing. Maintain the same notes as the Eau de Parfum with minimal to no tweaks, just make it a whole lot stronger. So that is something that's harder to be done. than it is to be said. Because if it were as simple as just upping the percentage, the concentration, then that's what everybody would do. But that's not exactly how it goes. You can ask for a fragrance and a higher concentration, and what you get back will actually have lower performance as far as projection goes. That happens all the time. It's actually very common. And when you're coming up with fragrances and working with a perfumer, you know, they may give you something at X percentage, and then you're like, well, I want it to be stronger, so give it to me in a percentage that's 2% higher or 4% higher, and then what you get back in actually sits closer to the skin. So it's dependent on the makeup of the fragrance itself as to that projection. Of course, the concentration has something to do with that. You can't have like a 4% concentration, for example, and expect it to be monstrous or something. But it's not all just the concentration, is what I mean to say. And so if you try to do, you know, exactly the one eau de parfum with no tweaks and suddenly have it be a beast, that's not happening. They're gonna have to go in and they're gonna have to rework the fragrance itself, and maybe they can rework it in such a way that it comes across smelling pretty close, you know, pretty similar to the one eau de parfum, but stronger. But it's not, unfortunately, just that simple, where you can just go, oh, higher concentration, smells the exact same, and now it projects and lasts longer. It would be cool, but they would have to definitely do some tweaks. I know you said minimal to no tweaks. It's gonna be at the bare minimum, minimal, but I'm not against the idea there either. Although you do have to keep in mind, I guess, to an extent, that with the one eau de parfum, part of the reason that that is so popular is the way the scent comes across. It's like this very alluring, sexy kind of fragrance that draws people in, kind of magnetic. And if it were ultra loud, maybe it loses that. Man Bear Stig. I would love to see a Chanel line that works with the oud note. Warm notes, oud, leather, plum. Chanel feels a bit too safe sometimes. I'd like to see what they could do with darker notes. Now, of course, I think here we're talking about your Chanel mainline men's fragrances, right? So like your Bleu de Chanel, your Chanel Allure line, stuff like that. And yeah, Chanel is one of those houses that during the big oud craze, they didn't really come out with anything oud-centric. So it would be interesting to see what they do with that, how they approach it. You know, would they start a new line? Probably not. Which line would work best? I would say the Allure line between those two, Bleu de Chanel and Allure. But that would be an interesting thing to see. And where we are removed a bit from the oud craze, it would be cool to see some new ones come out that are a little higher quality, I guess you could say. And interestingly enough, down just a little bit, Mo left a comment, got a lot of upvotes, that says, we need a Chanel, preferably on the darker side for cooler weather. Maybe with the top of plum, bergamot, cinnamon, mid, cardamom, suede, iris toffee, base, amberwood, tonka, incense, labdanum, and amber. So yeah, there we go again. Somebody saying Chanel do something, you know, for the cooler weather. And yeah, they need to, right? This is one of those things that you don't think about too much, but then when somebody says it, you go, oh, yeah, there is kind of a void there. Because nobody thinks of Bleu de Chanel, many of those, as a great winter fragrance, right? And then the Allure line, nobody thinks about any of those as great winter specific fragrances. Maybe you say, oh, you could use Allure Homme Sport Eau Extreme in the winter if you wanted to, but it's not really a winter fragrance. And it's the second person here that says plum. So yeah, something to think about, Chanel. And actually there are a number of people through here that are mentioning Chanel and saying that they want them to do either a cool weather fragrance or an iris-based fragrance, or both of those together. So apparently if Chanel comes out with an iris fragrance that is best suited for fall and winter, the internet is just gonna lose its mind and melt down. As I scroll down through here, I swear it's just Chanel, 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 iris, iris, Chanel. Bleu de Chanel elixir, Bleu de Chanel elixir. It's like half the comments. But for real though, if Chanel actually did an iris fragrance that was, you know, in that Dior Homme wheelhouse, you know, family style, I don't know what I'm doing there, wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off.
But if they did that and they pulled it off, You got your 2023 fragrance of the year right there. Easy. Brian Lynch says, I would like to see Mugler come back with their pure line of fragrances. I don't know what note though. They've covered just about all of them. Yeah, you and me both. Problem there is that they killed pretty much all of them off. You know, all the best ones are all kaput. So the problem with this, of course, especially if you're in the United States, is that Mugler nowadays has a whole bunch of just about nothing for men. Like they've completely abandoned men's fragrances. Well, at least that's how it feels. And that Pure line had some of just the best stuff. Pure Malt, Pure Havana, those two are just legends in the men's fragrance game. And beneath that, you had a lot of other ones that were very solid. And it became a thing, like a much nicer yearly collectible fragrance than something like CK1 Summer. Not that there's anything wrong with collecting those, but you know, each year you would look forward to the new Mugler. You would scoop it up, no matter what. You just have them all lined up there looking slick, even though the atomizers sucked. But as time goes and things change, Mugler has pretty much just killed everything off. In the US, you really can't find much of anything. If you go to Mugler's website in the US, muglerusa.com, you can buy Amen, the original. You can buy Alien Man and Alien Man Fusion. That is it. So yeah, I would say that Mugler needs a complete reboot. Would I love them to bring back that whole back catalog of pure fragrances? Yes. Is it gonna happen? Nope. But that would be fantastic. I would love that. I think maybe the best thing that we can hope for from Mugler is that they come out with a new line and really hit it out of the park, because Alien Man has fallen pretty flat with the current creative direction going on over there and where their focus seems to be. I would love it, don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, rough right now. Oh, here's one, Versace Dylan Black. I saw a Versace Dylan Blue ad once, and that is what got me interested in fragrances, from Handicap Porn. What a great handle you have, Handicap Porn. But Versace Dylan Black, yeah, it's interesting. Like, you don't give a note breakdown there, but I could see that happening, especially if they did decide to finally flesh out the Dylan Blue line, which is something you think Versace would do, considering that's their blue fragrance, their versatile line. That's the stuff that should rope in as many people as possible, other than Eros. And I felt like they were gonna start coming out with some new Dylan Blue fragrances for men, because they came out with like Dylan Turquoise for women. And so I thought, well, you know, if they're adding new stuff to the women's version of the line, then a lot of times you have the men's version that comes out alongside it, or, you know, after it, right after, or whatever. And then nothing. What would Versace Dylan Black be? My guess is tonka, some sort of like cardamom, saffron, vanilla, and maybe a little incense. That would be my guess of the direction they would go. Of course, maybe something more interesting, something that switches stuff up, but that would be the safe bet, wouldn't it? GD says Prada L'Homme Extreme. After they discontinued Prada Luna Rossa Extreme and Prada L'Homme Intense, this has the potential to be a real banger. Yes, it does. It does. And I'll tell you what would happen. Prada would come out with that. It would be a banger. Everybody in the fragrance world would be like, oh, Prada L'Homme Extreme, this is awesome. And then like 3-4 years later, Prada would go, cancel it, discontinue that. Prada does it to all their best. Matthew Beard says, can we have Gucci Envy back, please? Yeah, can we? Like you're speaking my language here. Gucci, it's gone a completely different direction as far as their mainline fragrances, you know, what they're putting out. Would I like for them to do something like YSL did, where they had M7 Oud Absolute and Jazz and all those fragrances that they brought back into the different bottle style? Yeah, that would be friggin' awesome. Could you imagine that they do a line, Gucci, where even, I don't care, you can have the same bottle style for all these. That is gravy with me. But they bring back Envy, they bring back Rush, they bring back Pour Homme 1 and 2. And I mean, there's more if they wanted to, you know, dive deeper and get some of those other old cuts and re-release those. Man, yes, I would love that. It's been done before by other houses of YSL, like I just said. If Gucci did that, they would score so many points with me and so many other people. And last one for this video. We'll do this again soon though. This is pretty cool. You guys have a lot of ideas. Google support. I can't imagine that that is actually from Google. You tricking people. Mont Blanc Lumberjack with notes of sandalwood, cedar, juniper berry, clove, sage, and whiskey. That is so randomly far out of left field, and yet if they released it, that would be pretty cool. Lumberjack, I don't know, man. I'm just throwing stuff out there. So they got Explorer, and then you were like, oh, that's cool, guy, you know, adventuring around, he's exploring, whatever. What about some dude who works in the forest, an arborist, just out there chopping down trees? Lumberjack, yeah. And the perfect house for that, Mont Blanc. I don't know why, but I like it, I like it. And I love how you threw whiskey in there. They gotta smell like woods, aromatics, because they're outdoors, and then booze. Although very unsafe to operate, you know, chainsaw while under the influence of alcohol. Don't do that. Still though, I like it. Like I said, there's a lot of other things you guys have put on here. So I'll maybe do another video in the future where I go over some more that you guys put here. So I'm gonna leave this up for right now on the community tab. If you wanna, you know, seek it out and drop a comment on there, feel free. Thank you guys for hanging with me. Designer brands out there, listen to what the people want. You know, just go peruse down through there. Read what the people have put. Thank you all for hanging with me. Thank you everyone that commented, that upvoted, all that stuff. Thank you for taking part in the video. Stay safe out there, guys. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.